Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. What is going on? It's your boy President PhatSamuraiGuy back again and hanging out with your boy in the movie Dojo. That's right, actor, martial artist, teacher, filmmaker, director, Len Kabasinski. Welcome back to the channel, brother. It's been a while.
It has been a while. It's good to see you, my man. Always my pleasure when I'm on the show. So I appreciate you thinking of me, especially for this film. It's one of my all-time favorites. Not without its flaws, but definitely one of my all-time favorites for various reasons. And we'll get into those later, I guess.
Yes, yes. This will be a spoiler review discussion, just giving everybody a heads up of The Accountant. So just a quick reminder that this will be spoiler discussion. We're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. Very, very, very little ugly here for The Accountant because I enjoyed it so much, brother. What? I got the 4K. I had to get The Accountant on 4K. I had to do it. I enjoyed it that much. But we will talk about all of the bells and whistles. But thank all of you badasses for chiming in, watching this live. We really appreciate it. And I just got to blow up the man here, the legend. Look at this background. I don't think you have enough trophies, brother.
Oh, this isn't all of them. It kind of it's cut. So, but yeah, they go that way a little bit long. Collection, not just mine. A ton of them are mine, but my family it just started competing about a year and a half ago as well. My daughter won a professional karate commission, a novice girls weapons championship last season. So there's some stuff going on. My significant other, she's going for it this year, and we'll see what happens, kind of thing.
Look at that. Look at that. He's keeping it in the family. Everybody winning awards.
Everybody's doing well. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, but before we get into it here, I gotta do the shout out. Gotta do the shout out. That's right. Big, huge shout out to all of our awesome channel members and patrons. We gotta do the roll call. All right, Samurai Guy, shout out to, here we go. Let's do it. Red Eclipse Films, Adam Evans, Lone Wolf Ronan, Attila the Hun, MKF30, Heather Schrum, Tyler Schrum, Jay Skull, Gilbert Berger, Jake Hall, Damo, the Entertainment Headquarters, John Bonnie, and the Sexy Sumo, CJ, Christian Mullins, Bo McCubbins, and the last shout out to Bella Sebastian. Thank you guys so much for continuing to supporting the channel and keeping us going and rocking and rolling and doing what we love to do. And what is that, Len? Talk about movies, awesome movies. That's right. And some bad ones, just for funsies once in a while. But me and Len have been wanting to talk about this movie forever. I think it was like way last year, maybe before that. Yeah.
I had rotator cuff surgery 3 years ago, something like that. And you mentioned you have the 4K for this one, and it's one of the first 4K ones I bought, knowing I'd be laid up, especially for a few weeks after surgery there. And I thought, I mean, that's the first time I bought a 4K player, because I'm thinking, this is a fad. It's no big deal. It's not. Right. It's not going to look a difference. I'm not going to notice a Blu-ray to 4K or that kind of thing. But no, there's a difference. I'm a believer. So one of the first ones I bought obviously was The Accountant. I think my first ones I bought were Jaws, the first one. Jaws, Jaws, Predator, Rambo, First Blood Part 2, and then The Accountant were the first few 4Ks I bought, actually.
Yeah, Jaws looks insane.
Yeah, and that's good. That's what you would expect. Yeah. That's a landmark achievement in filmmaking. You would hope they don't, diss that kind of movie and give it a shitty transfer or something.
Right, exactly. That
one looks pretty good. Predator has its moments where it's not the greatest 4K in the world, and then it has spots where it's like, oh, this is awesome.
Right.
That one kind of dips and peaks a little bit, probably because they shot it on a couple different cameras and things. But it's glaringly noticeable on the Predator 4K. So if you're debating like buying the Predator 4K versus just the normal Blu-ray, you probably can spare some cash and just get the Blu-ray for it, to be honest.
Copy that. But yeah, before we get into The Accountant here, just a quick reminder for everybody. This man knows his movies, his action, his martial arts. So make sure you guys catch Phat the Vengeance, baby.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Make sure you check this out.
You can see it for free. It's on Tubi TV now. Of course, you can see it on my Patreon at patreon.com/KillerWolfFilms. That's the best way to support my works, not Amazon Prime, not Tubi, not any of that stuff. If you're interested in just supporting my works in general, from 20 years in indie filmmaking now, going back to Swamp Zombies 1 days 20 years ago, we're still here. We're still doing stuff, and hopefully you see a difference from the beginning to the present. And Pact of Vengeance is kind of the culmination of all that work from 20 years ago to now.
I loved it, man. I really enjoyed it. It was so good. So make sure you guys check it out. Links are in the description box below, and make sure you support Len on Patreon. You get exclusives over there as well. So, all right. The Accountant came out in 2016, directed by Gavin O'Connor. He did the movie Warrior, which I'm a big fan of.
I am in that.
What's up?
I am in that film. I went down to be an extra for, I think, 2 or 3 days on the set of the film Warrior. And Warrior, I can see, has a similar problem that The Accountant has, in my opinion. We can get to that. But
interesting.
Yeah, I worked for him on the movie Warrior, and I've got wrestler friends that have worked for me many times that actually were on set for like 2 weeks down there on Warrior. Bud Crandall, or Black Sheep, Bennett Cole, I think is his indie wrestling name. He's in it. You can see him talking on the red carpet in the scene for Warrior there. But yeah, they were looking for biker guys for Warrior, so I said, well, I can look that part. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know what I'm doing around a motorcycle for the most part, and so I brought my bike down there and stuff like that. That's back when I was just driving a Suzuki M50. I didn't have like my custom chopper and all that stuff. I have
Right. How cool is that?
Now.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I went down for a few days. I was really cold, bored off my ass. It wasn't like a great experience, but a lot of extras, that's their life. They just travel around, and that's how they make their money, is on extras on various movie sets. But for me, I wanted to like go learn something, hang out.
Yeah.
And I didn't really do any of that. I just froze my ass off and made like $300. Like, not so much worth it, but yeah, I was on the movie set for a few days.
How cool is that? That's awesome. Yeah. Pact of Vengeance. Speaking of pro wrestlers, you got pro wrestlers in your film.
Oh yeah. I have Priscilla Diamante, an AEW wrestler there. I think she works a lot for Ring of Honor, but that's owned by AEW now. But I think she wrestles there a lot. Peter Avalon, same thing. Peter wrestles a lot, I think, for Ring of Honor, but he's one of the AEW like originals from like the beginning when they started a few years back, 5 years ago, something like that.
Right.
So yeah, they're in it. John Michael Thor is in it. The late Leo Fong, I miss you so much, buddy. Leo Fong is in it, and I think people that are fans of Leo that watch Pact they won't be disappointed. Leo's not in like an office cameo stuck in a room. It's not the David Carradine cameo of the '90s where you're in.
Yeah.
You're on set for an hour and then you're gone. But no, Leo's pretty much in the whole movie. So but yeah, I worked with the wrestlers. They were great. Diamante is maybe the best person at picking up fight choreography that I've ever worked with. I mean, I showed her once and boom, 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 boom. She just did it, and it was amazing. But I mean, all those guys and girls are they're all athletic. They're all great athletes and stuff. But in terms of like memorization and body movement and choreography and stuff like that, they should know it. I mean, with wrestling matches, but some matches aren't always choreographed ahead of time. Some people are still, they call it when they're in the ring kind of.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
But these guys, Peter and Diamante, were great.
Yeah, they were great in the movie, for sure. But let's get to the plot synopsis. For those of you who are watching who have not seen the movie, Christian Wolf is a math savant with more affinity for numbers than people behind the cover of a small-town CPA office. He works as a freelance accountant for some of the world's most dangerous criminal organizations, with the Treasury Department's Crime Enforcement Division, run by Ray King, starting to close in. Christian takes on a legitimate client, a state-of-the-art robotics company where an accounting clerk has discovered a discrepancy involving millions of dollars. But as Christian uncooks the books and gets closer to the truth, it is the body count that starts to rise. Yes. Now, I'm going to be honest, Len. When I saw a few like TV spots, not the really cool trailer that I took footage to make the really cool intro for this episode, but it was like there's a few TV spots, and I was like, "What the hell is this movie? What is this?" They showed him sitting down, moving his eggs, make sure everything's even. Then you see a quick shot of Ben Affleck with a gun, and then it was over. And I was like, well, what is that movie? I don't know what that movie was, because it was like these really quick, brief TV spots, and I didn't bother going to see it in the theater because the mini trailers and stuff, the teasers, didn't really wow me. I didn't really know what it was.
No, they did a poor job on that, to be honest. And a lot of times when we see movies that just don't work, sometimes they don't work because they're big budget movies and they're just not good.
Right.
You know what I mean? But then you've got something like this that I think is really, really good for the most part. And and then it just gets a weird campaign where is it an action movie? I mean, if they're playing it as an action movie, I guess they're going off of the Batman stuff he was doing, close to around this time anyways, right? He was Batman around this era.
Yeah.
But even that, they sold this movie short. This movie is much, much, much more than just your run of the mill action movie kind of thing, in my opinion.
Right. And no, well said. And I a couple of, it was like, I don't know, maybe a year or two later came out. I mean, passed, and then a couple of buddies of mine was like, "Hey, did you see The Accountant?" I was like, "What was that movie?" Like, I was like, "What the hell was The Accountant?" And then he was like, "No, dude, it's legit." I was like, "What?
Yeah.
The Accountant's legit?" Okay. Finally watched it, and I was like, "Dude, what the hell, man?" I actually got a little mad. Like, I was like, "Why is nobody talking about this movie? Why? What? Where has this movie been my whole life?" Like, I was like, not expecting at all the action. I mean, this is not a nonstop action thrill ride. This is not The Raid or anything like that. This is a crime drama thriller at its core.
Yeah.
But when you get the action, it's very surprisingly well done. And I wasn't expecting to get as much action as we actually got. So I was blown away by it. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, it's a weird trailer and advertising campaign for this one, and hopefully they've learned a lesson, because there is apparently a sequel like in the works. I know it was in the works, then it kind of stopped. Then I think it's in the works again. Character Ben Affleck, and we can get to the acting in a bit, but I mean the acting. I think this is my favorite role of him, and I'm not considering myself this giant Ben Affleck fan, but this one, again, the autism angle, that kind of stuff, and we'll get to that because I have a little bit of experience in that stuff as well, having a 15-year-old son with autism. But so you can tell this movie's close to my heart in a lot of ways. But
yeah.
I think the advertising campaign was weird. I don't think it did it any favors. People didn't know what it was, and if it would have picked crime action thing, maybe people would have went and saw it. Or if they would have went the other direction and said, this is a crazy action movie, maybe people would have, from what they did, nobody knew what it was forever until word of mouth started getting out and it got to home video, and people like, did you see that? I missed that in the theaters. Where'd this go? Or where'd this come from?
Yeah.
And
exactly.
it reminded me of a really strange horror movie that came out like 15 years ago, had a wild advertising campaign, and it was about a giant alligator or giant crocodile or something like that. I'm trying to think of the name of the film, but anyways, it was set in Africa. And it was like about Gustave or something, this mythological, crocodile creature.
Yeah. I think I know which movie you're talking
about.
Well,
the trailers, and make a long story short, the trailers are all made up to be like a real killer. You think it's a human. They don't mention an alligator. You don't see an alligator or crocodile or whatever. You don't see anything. Just this person's killed hundreds of people throughout the years in Africa and stuff. Really crazy trailer. Look it up sometime. If you just look up alligator movie from 2007 or 6 or whatever it was, the advertising campaign is crazy for it. And it reminded me of something like this is, wow, you don't know what you're watching. And then you get there and see it and you're like, holy crap, this is not what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. And sometimes, obviously, I wish I was like Andrew here. He says, awesome movie, loved the action. The pacing was well done for having flashbacks. But right here, Eric, I meant, hello, friends. He says, saw this movie in the theater and was not expecting the action I got. So I wish I saw it in the theater, but sometimes, going in blind, you kind of have a better experience, like wow. You know what I mean? Like not knowing what to expect. Sometimes you have a better experience watching a movie.
Yeah, at my house at Christmas time, my kids got a projection screen. Obviously it's not as big as a movie theater, but they got a projection unit and a projection screen and stuff like that. And so I mean, we just watched Rad on it. I didn't see Rad in the movie theaters. I would have been 10 or whatever, so I probably should have, but I didn't. And that kind of allow you kind of generate that experience as much as you can, kind of thing. But it would have been a good one. But I mean, if we talked about films we wish we would have seen in the theater and didn't, I mean, hell, I could list off 100 movies I would have wanted to see in the theater and never got the chance. And, with COVID happening, the theater near my home, they brought back certain films, older films, for certain runs. Raiders of the Lost Ark came back for a couple of weeks. Jaws came back for a couple of weeks. I mean, I wasn't even, I think I was 1 year old when Jaws came out. So I got to see that on the big screen and stuff. And those are good experiences. I've seen Jaws on the big screen a couple times. But those kinds of films came back. Big Trouble in Little China played. All these films that, came back and played the theater. And I think if COVID didn't happen. I mean, that wouldn't have happened, and films would have just kept going. And I don't know if we see the boom and like Netflix produced films and Amazon Prime produced films and all those kinds of things. We would have just kept going with stuff that went to the theater. And now that seems to be a secondary thought to getting stuff produced and going right to Netflix and Amazon. And even Tubi's kind of the direct to video line of we're producing films kind of thing.
Yeah, no, well said, well said. We got Jake Hall watching and saying hello. What's going on, Jake? Jeff down here says this director made Warrior, which will make any film he makes next to downgrade. But The Accountant is one of the finest crime action movies from Hollywood in recent memory. Look at that. Look at that. You know, the more we talk about this movie, the more I'm getting messages. I actually got messages earlier today and yesterday since I posted that we were going to talk about this, and people were hitting me up like, "Oh, fuck yeah, it's underrated, man." They're like, "Yeah, man." They're like, everyone's agreeing, which is pretty cool. It's nice to know that we're not alone.
I think it's got a little bit for everybody. Like I said, those that want a more dramatic film, that's obviously there. Right. The action that you do get, there's really some really nifty fight choreography. I love this scene on the pickup truck where he's fighting the one assassin, I guess, if you will, that's come after him on a farm and stuff. He takes his belt off and does some stuff. I mean, it's very, there it is, very slickly done. Yeah, I love all this stuff. He ties them up with it and chokes them with it and does all that kind of stuff. And you know, in this too, you can kind of see Ben's. He's probably doing a lot of his own stuff. So and you know, it's kind of, we've been in that era for a long time now, where the audience just doesn't accept actors not doing a lot of their own stunts anymore.
Right. Yeah,
I mean, this is what buried somebody like Steven Seagal when he went to the Drill Land. I mean, he got really, you know, fat, out of shape, you know, and then you can clearly see when he's doubled and not on set. And I mean, some of that is he's going direct to video. He probably doesn't care anymore. But in these kinds of films, when you're going to the theater and you're still out there in kind of the limelight, the audience isn't going to accept, you know, Ben morph into a 160-pound, 5'10" man in his fight scenes. Kind of thing. So,
yeah. Not everyone could be Sammo Hung, you know. He still move for his age and his size.
Yeah, he's amazing.
But no, I agree with you. I'm gonna come out here and say it. I think this is probably the best we've ever seen Ben in terms of fight choreography and action. I think this is the best he's been. I don't know if he's been better than this. Have you seen him in any other action movies where he was better than, like, convincing?
No, not as like him. I mean, in Batman, we mentioned doubling and stuff like that.
Right.
And I'm not a big comic book person, to be honest.
Yeah, I know.
You know, when Iron Fist is one of my favorite comic characters, and when Netflix did it, I was like, oh man, this is awful. But you know, I just shake
fucking horrible.
Yeah.
Iron Fist. There was an Iron Fist show. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about.
If I'm going to do comic stuff. So, you know, if I'm going to talk about comic stuff, my comic book world probably ends with, you know, Dolph Lundgren and the Punisher in the 80s, the Incredible Hulk with Bill Bixby and Lou Ferrigno and stuff like that. So, yeah, although people keep telling me see the Master of Kung Fu Marvel movie from a couple years ago, but I didn't see that either. So I've kind of given up.
You'll like parts of it.
Yeah.
You'll like parts of it.
But
you'll enjoy the first half. The second half, I don't know how you'll feel about the second half, but you'll like the first half. So Shang-Chi, but
yeah, going back to Ben, this is easily my favorite movie with him in it. I mean, it's not even close. But again, I think the story of this film is what really draws in someone like me. So yeah, I love action films and martial art films and all that kind of stuff. But I think the story is really good. We haven't even got to his brother, the character yet, how they kind of grow up together, kind of thing. There's a lot of like good storytelling here. The parts I don't like is really, we'll get to it, but it's really just the very ending kind of thing. And I think that was weak in Warrior as well, kind of thing.
Okay. All right, cool. Let me get to hear. I get to hear your thoughts on that. But yeah, go ahead and talk about a little bit of the story, how it begins, Len. Len, go ahead and talk about the beginning.
Oh, I'm sorry. You cut out on me there.
Yeah, go ahead and talk about the story a little bit, how it starts in the beginning.
Oh, yeah. We have Ben Affleck as a child who's autistic, and he's putting together a puzzle, but what we don't really see until he gets done is that he's actually putting it together upside down, kind of thing. So I love the tie-in. We're just going to get to the spoilers because you really can't talk about it without getting it out there. But a young girl helps her who also is a nonverbal autistic but can communicate through a communicator, but can't you and I and things. So she gives him his puzzle piece. He completes the puzzle. And later do we see in the film, this is somebody that stayed his friend throughout the years and things like that, and helps him in his accounting business kind of thing. But that's really how it starts. And right off the bat, we see that, he's not a typical child off the bat in the film and stuff. And I think they portray autism really, really well here. He borderlines on, potentially violent. You can have an autistic child that does have violent episodes and things like that, so you don't go in that direction, because it does show him freaking out a little bit at times and things like that. And then you have some that are more like just really, really brilliant. And then Ben Affleck's character here in this film, which I love to death, he's a bit of both. He can get serious and physical when he needs to, but yet has his mind about him that he's this brilliant, mathematician. Like all of his characters and aliases in the film, or not characters, but his aliases are all like famous mathematicians in this movie. So it's really, really, really well put together. But yeah, the beginning of the film, I think, establishes right off the bat his brother's there, who seems very, very skeptical.
Yeah.
His dad is your classic military type, who doesn't seem like a bad guy or anything like that. His parents separate when they're little. Both kids are little. I love Bernthal. Is that how you say his last name?
Yeah.
Bernthal's child character is flipping off his mom. So you could tell there's going to be a bond between these characters that is going to, go throughout the film. And I think that's it makes for a special movie, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, very well said. And he ends up having his son. He wants to prepare his sons, so he has them starts training under several different specialists. One of them we get to see played by shout out to Ron Yuan. He was one of the specialists that was teaching him the martial arts and stuff. And he wants, the dad is concerned and wants to make sure his sons can protect themselves. What did you think about this scene right here?
No, this is one of my favorites in the film, because he sends it, Ben Affleck out there, his character out there, to basically get beat up or accosted at minimum by these, punks, I guess you could say, for lack of a better term. So while
they were already bullying him, I believe, and so this is kind of like payback
thing there. And then what we have, though, is he gets out there. He still seems, Ben Affleck's character is really not totally, getting everything just yet in this scene. So they get the upper hand. And I mean, it's a volume situation there. One-on-one, small problem. 5-to-1, too big a problem kind of thing. And but then his equalizer brother jumps in and go. And that's, I love that. I like that. It's like a family aspect that gets drawn into the film. And then, when his dad passes away later in the film, you're like, oh man, these kids have it rough. And you're right. The dad was trying to prepare them. It's not a sensory friendly planet all the time, with everything we get assaulted with in major cities, for example, and all those kinds of things. I couldn't imagine somebody not trained or having some autism services early in their life and then going to New York City or something like that. I couldn't imagine. But yeah. My son was diagnosed when he was like 18 months old, and he doesn't have any, episodes or anything like that. He trains in martial arts, he talks and things like that. So, but, he's 15. We don't know, he could be a rocket scientist for all I know. I mean, he can take apart engines and stuff like that. Or I take care of him the rest of my life, and, giving my life to somebody else isn't wasting my life. So, we just have to figure out where it is. But I think that reminds me of where Ben Affleck's character is in this very scene that you have the still up for there. We don't know what's going to really happen with him at that point.
Right. And his dad even tells him, he's like, it's your choice. You either want to play the victim or make a decision.
Right. And he made a decision.
Yeah, he made a decision. Yeah. And his brother backed him up.
His brother picked him up. Right.
Go.
Great scene.
Oh man. But you gotta love old Commissioner Gordon here. You gotta love J.K. Simmons. And talk about both of their characters here.
JK, I think if there's a villain in the film besides the main villains, I'm not super sure he's a real good guy in this whole thing, to be honest. He kind of blackmails the female agent, if you will, to kind of figure out something that he couldn't figure out. So, that's a do as I say, not as I can do kind of thing, because he wasn't going to figure out who the accountant.
Right.
was. He's dying to know who he is, but I'll blackmail a young agent with dirt on and make her do it. So I don't know how good guy material that is. But anyways, that's the situation there. He's a retiring agent. He's got a young up and coming that is comfortable in her spot. I think she even says that in the film. I like where I'm at, kind of thing. And this guy's questioning why isn't she doing more, and he kind of blackmails her into doing more.
Yeah.
So now what he would have done when push came to shove, we don't really know. But he doesn't come across as a super good guy.
He could have been bluffing, but yeah. But
yeah, it could have been, and we see it early. We would hope that he was bluffing because early in the film we see the accountant essentially spare his life. Are you particular? Right. Are you a good agent? He's like, not particularly. He's like, are you a dad? And he's like, yeah, I think I'm a good dad, kind of thing. And he spares him there. So hopefully those kind of. It's funny how so many people, what have you done for me lately, and you forget. But hopefully J.K.'s character wouldn't have forgot that moment. He could have totally shot him in the back of the head.
Yeah, this was a great scene. I think a great flashback. When they finally realize who he is, they go to his house, and I love how when they find the abandoned house, and then they're like, "Look at this open space. Anybody could just come up." And then they find this, and then they find the Gatling gun. They're like, "Oh shit! Okay, he's prepared. If anybody just comes up."
The Ed 209 arm in his house. Yeah.
But yeah, great scene. You get a little bit more backstory about Mary Beth. And and she, she was like, with all due respect, sir, I don't think what hard times. I'm paraphrasing.
Right.
And then
hard times. You say hard times. I think the American dream.
Hard times, baby.
That's one of the best promos ever. But go ahead.
Ever of all time. But yeah, he talks about, he's like, well, actually I do have some experience with hard times and kind of a failed career, talking about his background. And the informant ended up ratting on the mafia kingpin, did not, obviously he got let out. J.K. Simmons' character was supposed to protect him. He didn't protect him. He ended up getting killed on the outside. And he feels guilty about that, And that was one of the reasons why Ben Affleck's character, who became
he probably should
his friend.
It's like I said, I'm not so sure.
It's true.
He's a good guy.
Yeah. No, you're right. Francis Silverberg was the character's name, who played by Jeffrey Tambor.
Yeah, Tambor.
He was friends. He made friends with Ben Affleck's character, Christian, inside.
Well, he not only makes friends with him, though, he's teaching him stuff inside. Mm-hmm. He's going through, hey, if I act like this, and this is, helping, Ben with the autism and stuff symptoms. He's, hey, I'm acting like this. And he's like, what? And he's like, no, and you're frustrated. This is what it's like to see someone that's frustrated.
Yeah, for sure.
Or this is somebody that's angry. Or, you know what I mean? He goes through like emotional instances with Ben. So he recognizes that when he gets out. But he was also the one that if you go through with this and go out into this world, in this accounting world, you don't come back, kind of thing.
Right.
So he says.
Yeah. But Ben got attached to him. So that was one of the reasons. Once he died, Ben was like, I'm breaking out of prison. Yeah. I'm going after these guys. And that's when we have the flashback of him just taking everybody out. And J.K. Simmons gets caught in the crossfire. And what a great scene. I love how it was framed, too, how you barely saw Ben behind him. Christian's character holding a gun on J.K. Simmons' back of his head. And just like you said, he goes, what do you do? He's like, I'm a horrible, what is it? I'm a horrible treasury agent.
He's kind of a shitty friend. That's Tambor's character. But yeah, it's this film, I think, does, in fact, I'd have to really think of something, and I don't mean something like Memento, because that's really not done in flashbacks. They're just telling it backwards, kind of thing. But this movie, I think, uses flashbacks super effectively. I think there's some of the best usages of flashbacks I know enough, really, and I'm sure people can chime in with other ones they thought, but I don't mean just the whole movie's a flashback and you're just storytelling. That's what, like I said, like a Memento or something like that would be. But this one, as its narrative plays out, the drop-ins of flashbacks I think are extremely well done in this movie, and I really think add and really make it a good movie.
Oh yeah. But yeah, he's all like, are you a good dad? And he's all like, that's the only good thing I've done in my whole life was be a good dad. And he lets him live.
I can relate to that. I think I got that part right.
That's right. showing your kids movies like Rad. You're doing it right, Len. You're raising them
Oh
right.
yeah, my kids love Brad. My daughter loves Jim Cotta, and I mean all these kinds of things. So yeah, I try to do parenting well
Yeah.
with them, but yet still let them watch Trolls or all the stuff they've liked,
Yeah.
kind of thing. They just watched the Disney one that came out last month, Wish or something like that. So yeah, I sit and watch those movies with them too. But sometimes they sit with Dad and watch Jim Cotta or that kind of stuff.
You got to sneak it. You got to sneak that Jim Cotta in somewhere. The Octagon. Let's get all those cool movies in there. But yeah, so he gets brought in, this robotics company, and someone's stealing money. Hey, we need you to help us find out who's stealing the money. And then when he finds out, then John Lithgow is a legend.
Yep.
He's a legend, but when he walked in, he was like, "My friend killed himself.
That's a good.
He stole the money." John Bernthal was brought in. His character was brought in, to kill his friend.
Yeah,
and he was all like, "I don't care about the money being lost. You're done." And then Ben's like, "I have to finish." But I was just kind of like, when he said that, I was like, well, I wonder who the villain is.
Right. And I don't think they tried to really hide that, in my opinion. I don't think in storytelling they were trying to hide that Lithgow was the villain kind of thing. I think we got a grasp on that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But you're right. Now he hires the Punisher, right? Bernthal's character to come in, kill his friend, get him out of his half of the company or whatever, stakes he had in it kind of thing. And him and JK, parallels being shitty friends. Both him more directly killing his friend, maybe JK a little more indirectly, but so I think that's the character that we don't see enough of on screen, is the Bernthal character, I think. And this is Ben's movie, don't get me wrong, and it should be. His character is much more fascinating in my opinion than Bernthal's character, who's just like the tough little brother. He's but yeah, he comes into play. He takes out his business partner there, Lithgow's business partner. And then we get the great scenes where he's doing Ben, the accountant, is doing all the math on the board to track where everything is. And I just love that scene. I think you're coming from somebody that I would suck at algebra. Algebra doesn't make any sense to me. When you have numbers and then you mix letters in with it of the alphabet, I'm just like, this doesn't make any sense. No. Now you give me geometry. I'm pretty good at geometry. Geometry makes total sense to me. Angles and all that all makes sense to me. But algebra, I would tank.
I got an A+ for weightlifting in high school. that was a long time ago. But yeah, you're fired.
I don't know how good I was at in high school.
Yeah. Oh, Lithgow's character is, I'm so sad. You're fired. Get out. And of course, Christian, Ben's character is like, something's up. But then the thugs come calling, and they bum rush the nice sweet the farm family, the couple that Ben helped at his accountant place. And that was a mistake. And man, Ben was like, "Where are you going?" He's like, "Wait, hold on. Where are you going? Don't be
driving." It's like the fight action in that scene. I think the thing that's awesome in that scene is where he has his, which almost looks like an Arctic sniper. I'm not sure what kind of rifle it is. I'm not a gun expert, but it looks like it might be an Arctic sniper rifle. But anyways, Ben's a ways out kind of thing from his target, and the one guy's looking through the window. The not Dad, but you know who I'm talking about. The older guy in the scene. He's like, "No way does he hit that? Not in a million years." And then boom, boom, and then Ben waves to him. I just think that's great.
Yeah, little things like that, man.
It is. It's that character. I just find that scene amusing.
Yeah, but he was like, "Where are you going? No, hold up. You trying to? I like this couple. You gonna try to hurt this couple? No, hold on." And we had a really cool a little action
and he makes
sequence
sure they
here.
And he even the older male out of the couple there, he gets in on the action and grabs the guy doing the steering wheel and stuff.
Yeah.
So he doesn't just sit and don't do anything. He jumps in on the action as well. And then they go flying off the truck and have their cool little fight scene with the belts and everything like that. And
I love the shock on the guy's face. He's just like, "What the fuck?" Like, he questions himself. He's like, "Wait a minute. I keep trying to attack this dude. It's not working out."
No.
Of course, you know, Christian gets the, you know, why are you here? And he's like, well, we were sent to kill you and his temporary coworker at the robotics place.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah. And
yeah.
another good scene where he goes to save her in that apartment. Is it
Oh,
something?
so great.
And then he's like, he defeats everybody, gets in there and into the bathroom. He's like, we should go.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, you shouldn't stay there, but he's like, we should go.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love
But
it.
yeah,
His character.
action's so well done here.
Yeah, it's
Smooth,
good. Yeah, it's
straight
awesome.
to the point. You know, uses his surroundings. But yeah, the fight in the back when he shot his way through, got to the bathroom before they took Anna Kendrick out. I love the choke slam on to the bathroom
Yeah,
sink
on the
here.
sink.
Boom. That's it.
Yeah.
Done. That's it.
We
You're
should go.
done. That's it. And I love if you really watch Ben throughout these fight scenes, when it's really him doing it, he
Yeah.
doesn't show emotion.
Yeah, and that's he stayed in character the whole time. I'd be
Yeah.
very, very curious if during filming he was like that, because a lot of actors do that. You know, they don't leave their character kind of thing. You
Yeah.
know, I always go back to Dolph Lundgren, The Punisher, but on that 80s film, they even said Dolph just was Castle. They'll shoot. If he was at craft services, he was Frank Castle. If he was on set going to the parking lot, he was still Frank Castle. And then, you know, he stayed in character the whole time. I could see Ben probably wanting to do something like that, because I think this would be a really hard character to come in and out of all the time.
Yeah.
But who knows?
Yeah, no, well said. And I'm smelling another future review here with me and Len talking about Dolph's The Punisher. I think we're going to have to revisit that, Len, in the future.
I would love that. I would
let's do it.
absolutely love that. I
Let's
would
do
love
it.
that. There's so much I like in that movie.
Yeah.
That movie gets a bad rap as being like a bad B movie, but because they don't have the skull on him. So okay, fine. It doesn't look like a Hot Topic t-shirt guy running around. He's dressed in leather. He's a biker that lives in a sewer. You're not gonna wear t-shirts. You're gonna wear durable clothing like black leather motorcycle stuff and all that. But that's a different conversation.
Yeah,
But,
future review coming.
Absolutely.
But yeah,
110%. Don't do it without me.
Yeah. Oh no, we won't. I'm gonna do it. Yeah, we got to do that one together. But yeah, stealth tactics, gun shooting, choke slams on bathroom sinks. Just really, really well done. Even when he gets hit too, he doesn't blank. You know, for the most part, even when he gets hit, he doesn't break character. But he rescues Anna Kendrick. I love how she wasn't supposed to be wandering in his little trailer here, but she stumbles across all of this candy, and she's like, "Who are you, man? Like, what the hell is going on?"
Right, and clearly he's got cash in other places, as we see that he has Action comic books and things like that. And,
I saw that. Yeah.
You know, we mentioned the paintings. You know, he mentions the paintings and things like that. But yeah, so there's the way he can get his capital. Who he goes through his friend at the beginning of the movie to say, hey, move the Monet painting or move Action comic books, go sell this kind of stuff. You know, it's pretty cool how they tied all that kind of stuff together, and it makes sense. And then we get into right from there, we get into the final, you know, act of the movie, really.
Yeah. And, he gets her to safety. And I love how, of course, when he's communicating with what you think is a British woman.
Right. Yeah.
But I love how she's like, well, what are you going to do now? And he goes, wait, hold on. He goes, let me find it. He goes, I'm going to shoot them in the head. That's it.
Yep.
That's it. We'll shoot him in the head. It's so good. But yeah.
But then we get, we got to, not to spawn, but we're in the final. Yep.
I love this scene too, where John's character's just walking and he senses Christian behind him and he just turns and shoots, and that's it. It's great. But yeah, I did want a little bit more John, because he's so good. John's a scene stealer sometimes, you know, in TV shows and movies. He's really good actor. But yeah,
not particularly maybe good guy in this movie or not, but I'm sure they play him as a protagonist in this one. But again, these guys, there probably are no real good guys kind of thing.
Yeah. I like movies like that. I like where
I think you want more of him. I think he's an interesting character, but when you look at this film as a whole, where are you going to put it? I mean, you're going to have a 3-hour runtime film, and then I think you're going backwards there from what this movie really is, because I think the pacing is pretty good. It's never boring, kind of thing, the way it is. You know, we want to stretch it out, putting in more filler and stuff like that. I mean, I don't think we need Bernthal's character defined, you know, as an adult kind of thing. We know what he's been doing. In the first scene, he comes in as an enforcer or a hitman type by Lithgow. So we know what he's been
Yeah, for sure. But yeah,
I think if anything,
yeah.
get the teenage years or the more of this kind of stuff.
Yes, yes. Well said. And now we get to the action-packed finale. Again, I was not expecting all of this action when I was watching this movie at all. And you know, John's group is we're protecting John Lithgow. I love how he says, "I told you to leave the country."
Right, right.
And then John's like, "But he's just an accountant."
Right. My advice to you was leave the country. No, you don't want to do that. And,
Yeah. But yeah, guns a-blazing, so good.
there we are where they are. And even when Lithgow dies in the film, not going to be a fight there kind of thing. Lithgow's not going to go at these guys. So he just turns and shoots them. So.
That was so funny. Oh my God.
I mean, what do you do? We're not going to have a fight scene or something like that with Lithgow, or even a gun scene. I mean, he'd get annihilated by these two pros. I mean, it would be kind of silly, you know what I mean? So I think they dealt with that pretty good. And then the brothers have their heartfelt conversation with one another where, little brother still kind of plays little brother, where Ben's like, you've made improvements. Or, Ben, or, Christian, I'm considered a fairly dangerous man myself. And he's like, well, so I think there's some cute dialogue and stuff like that in there. And of course, Affleck wraps up with a classic line with his brother, how will I find you a week from now? You won't. I'll find you. And,
find you.
And off he goes. I'll find you. Yeah. And off he goes. And then really, in my opinion, and I know we're wrapping up here, but in my opinion, that's where the movie should end.
Okay.
I don't like the painting ending with Poppy from Trolls or whatever the actress's name is there. I don't like that ending at all. We don't need the sappy ending. If any end with him and his brother, the relationship everybody should care about in the film. End it there, and then you have him drive away in his Airstream or whatever. He can drive away. That's your end of the film. He's on the highway driving away. He's Kane in Kung Fu. He's Bill Bixby in The Incredible Hulk.
Yeah,
he's driving away at the end. You can have his friend communicate with him. That I think needs to go in there, but you can sneak that into the end, where it turns out to be the girl from the beginning help him. Keep that, but the painting stuff with Poppy, it doesn't need to be there. I'm sorry. It just
you could have taken that out for sure. For sure.
That's the only part I really, really, really don't like in this film.
I said we need the Len Kabasinski director's cut. the edit.
I was just putting that part out.
but yeah, before we wrap it up, again, great action at the end and some really great unexpected fight choreography moments, and like we had some ground grappling and just some submissions. I mean, I don't know, Len, me and you have seen billions of action movies and martial arts movies. Do you remember any other action movie where the guy is putting the other guy in kind of like on almost like triangle choke attempt, and then using the flash bomb grenade, killing him while holding him in the triangle choke position? I don't think I've seen that anywhere else.
That's probably not been done, but I think some grappling out of nowhere kind of stuff where you don't expect to see it. And obviously this director, having done Warrior, has been around, that kind of community, that MMA style or Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu style of, fighting and stuff. So he's been around it. That's not too surprising, but that's pretty original. He does it. It's like in the final fight scene in Lethal Weapon with Mr. Joshua and Mel Gibson, where Mel Gibson is a police officer, and all of a sudden he pulls out triangle chokes and stuff like that on the front lawn of Danny's house or wherever it was. And it's like, where did he learn this from? You don't learn this on the police, but anyways, yeah.
But yeah, phenomenal movie. Once John realizes who he's like, oh shit, that's my brother. I haven't seen it 10 years. Like you said, very heartfelt moments.
Yeah, it's a good
back and forth between both of them. And I do agree, Len, that John Lithgow's death was fucking hilarious. You know what made that death funny? It was just quick and to the point. And then right after that was John's face expression. Like he's just like, oh my God, that was so funny. But we're getting ready to wrap it up here in a second here.
But
quick thoughts.
Unemotional, boom.
Yeah. Love the movie. Quick thoughts, Len. You mentioned it earlier. Are you down? Are you really down for a sequel, or would you rather have been one and done?
No, I think this can lend itself to a sequel. I'm at least interested. Okay. I mean, I did a movie called Swamp Zombies 2, for God's sake. I mean, if something comes out that's interesting or something different, You know, we don't want to lose the core characters and who they are.
Right.
And I don't think if it's the same director, which I'm not aware if it is or not, I don't think, you know, that part that we love most. If it's one scene in this film that's not an action film that I think will endear your heart when you watch it, and it's right off the bat that I think draws you into this movie even more, it's when we first see Ben at his accounting place talking to this older couple about doing their taxes, and they're thinking, oh man, this is going to make us broke. And then he talks to them, so you're in the company truck. Or how big is your, well, I just do this out of my kitchen or whatever. You mean the home office? And he's telling them how to, like, you know, get better tax. I think that's an endearing scene. I think you'll like his character right off the bat after that. But I got to be wrapping up here. But thank you so much for thinking of me on the show. Let's do Punisher with Dolph Lundgren.
Punisher.
I would love to be on that. And I own the Japanese Laserdisc copy of that.
Ooh, you got to show it off.
Little bit more, a couple more martial art moves and stuff in that version that we don't really get in the American version.
Okay.
The cinema version, or whoever released it, New Line, New World, whatever it was. I think it was New World. Yeah. Whoever went under, because they were putting out Dolph Lundgren's The Punisher, along with Dead Heat, another movie that I could talk about for an end. But that's another time.
Love Dead Heat.
Get out of here.
Well, thank you so much for being here, Len. You know, it's your second home, the dojo. All you badasses watching, don't forget, click on the links on the description box below. Follow Len on his filmmaking journey. Check out Pact to Vengeance, baby. It's ridiculously entertaining. You will enjoy it. It's got everything you want: violence, action, comedy, pro wrestling maneuvers, blood, guts, and heart. That's right. Make sure you guys check that out. And until next time, me and Len are going to be doing the Punisher. We're going to do that. And got some more special guests on the podcast coming up this Sunday and Monday. And don't forget Versus. The next episode of Versus is Tuesday. We're doing Yes, Madam versus Righting Wrongs. Two Cynthia Rothrock films head-to-head. So we'll see you guys then. Len, thank you so much, brother. All right, guys. See you on the next one. Take care.